In this video, we're going to explore the idea of the author as the quintessential mind gamer, an expert manipulator of the reader's mind. I think most of us would agree that it is unacceptable to play mind games with people. It's manipulative, cruel, and abusive, both psychologically and emotionally. When a master manipulator plays with the victim's mind, that manipulator is playing with the victim's heart. Like a puppeteer, the manipulator is pulling the strings, including the heartstrings of their chosen target, an act that leaves the person on the receiving end feeling used and broken. I want you to think back to the dynamic duo, one of the brief videos I posted while preparing the main content for this channel. In that video, I established 2 mantras we'd be using for our exploration. 1, authors must believe and feel what they write in order for readers to believe and feel it. And 2, authors must make readers love the characters, then lead those characters to their demise so readers can feel the emotional impact of that end. I'd also like you to consider the 2 approaches to writing fiction I discussed in another previous video. The writer is in control of the story, or the story is in control of the writer. In this video, we'll be focusing on the first perspective, the author as the one in control. So in this context, the author is the ultimate controller of the story. Does the author play mind games with the reader? Remember that according to the second of the 2 mantras for the journey into the mind of the writer, the author's job is to make the reader feel what's happening in the story. The author must emotionally engage the reader, get under the reader's skin, and into the reader's heart. To do this, the author must be extremely strategic. They only have the reader for a handful of hours and a limited number of pages, and they could lose the reader's attention at any time. To keep the reader in the story, the author must continually stimulate the reader's brain to keep that reader emotionally invested. The author's strategy is everything if they want to get an emotional response from the reader. The fiction writer's strategy could comprise of many tactics, but in this video we're going to look at 2, plot and setting, with an added focus on setting. When it comes to stimulating the reader's emotions, plot and setting are extremely important. A fight in a battlefield will create tension and suspense. A love scene in a beautiful bedroom will evoke love and arousal. A birth in a hospital ward will elicit feelings of safety and joy. A betrayal in an alleyway will provoke intrigue and excitement. That's if the author writes it skillfully. And how does an author write it skillfully? Well, let's look at setting. An author crafts setting skillfully by appealing to the reader's 6 senses: sight, smell, sound, taste, touch, and spirit, by using descriptions that feed into those 6 senses. When an author appeals to the reader's senses, they'll instigate the reader's emotions. And when the author achieves deep emotional engagement, the author succeeds in winning the reader's heart, winning being the aim of the game. However, what I've just presented is very simple. What if an author really wants to play psychological games and send the reader's mind for a spin? Well, authors love to mix things up and give you the unexpected. A fight in a beautiful bedroom will create tension and suspense in a setting built for love. A love scene on a battlefield will bring love and arousal into a place of trauma and death. A birth in an alleyway will force feelings of danger and foreboding into an instance of promise and new life. A betrayal in a hospital ward will provoke deception and disillusionment in a context associated with protection, healing, and safety. Ever the mind gamer, ever the strategist, a clever author will stir emotions up and make them conflict and tangle with one another, snaring the reader into the story as if it were a web. When an author is an effective mind gamer, they will keep the reader's mind spinning and by osmosis secure continued engagement of the reader's emotions. In the perspective that holds the author as the controller of the story, the author plays with the reader's brain to capture the reader's heart. But I'd like you to consider the following. We're not talking about the off-page world here. We're talking about the on-page one. And when a reader picks up a book, he, she, or they are entering an unwritten contract. As with movies and video games, escape rooms, and TV series, the reader is giving the creator permission to play with their mind. It is a consensual arrangement in which the reader is granting the writer power to take them for a psychological spin. Or is that entirely true? It does seem so within the context of the author as the story's controller. But what happens when we look at this from the other perspective, of the story as being in control? What happens when the plot and the settings and the characters come to the author? Who is playing the mind games then? Who is pulling the strings?